My lower way.
Well, there's something I discovered. Every time I'm locked up in these police cells, there are cases, for example, how the police have been turned to be debt collectors.
Yes.
That abuse of the police must be spoken to. Many people are locked up because of civil debts.
Civil debt.
The police have a way of turning that law, obtaining money by false pretenses. And they never prosecute these cases. You are locked up to use you or your relatives to look for money to pay the debt.
It's crazy.
That I'm usually...
When we were locked up, there was a child in the tropical.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 kwacha.
Yeah.
Juveniles like this in a cell full of fecal matter. One they used to punish me, but now the fecal matter, then they remove them and they put me in there.
Yeah.
So it's
things like that.
It's things like that.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's the amount of time that a person with no lawyer will spend. We write laws in this country for the rich. Actually, you need to work in sureties. There are people in this country with not one person in their family.
Yeah, true.
But their pastor maybe can sign, or even someone at the market who has a stand. She won't run away.
Yeah. No, in this country they want civil servants or leaders. Or
someone with a market stand at Tenere Market who's been there for 10 years is as established. They fixed a board.
As a civil servant.
They fixed a board, but we don't. So we, as the Human Rights Commission, you find that, and not only as a Human Rights Commission, Zambians, when they talk about rights, this one has been arrested. We talk about...
Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
Okay.
Now, wait. Let me just finish with that. Every other president, it's not a small thing. Yeah. Every other president has needed to send their children to a better school. You see what I mean? Using presidential earnings. Under him, though, I always say, UPND na PF, first cousins.
Okay.
Chibos boss. But UPND kubaleka, bangape chibe mga PF. It's at the top where there's a difference. President Lungu and HH night and day. In terms of their leadership style, their competence, their what, night and day. You can't even compare. Here, you see, because because UPND spent 20 years in opposition. Yes, but especially the last ones of PF, they spent it planning what they would do when they went into power. They also wanted to build houses. They also wanted to steal. So right now, I think it's almost like they're straining at the leash. Like they're being held back. But I have not seen anything that makes me believe that UPND as a party is better than PF as a party, other than cadres, of course. But even their cadres, if you let them go, what they really wanted was to go into the bus stops. What they really wanted was to kill Zambians and things. That's one thing. Let me tell you what I don't like about President HH.
Yeah.
His politics. Some of the politics is his thing. So, okay, they can tell us that they didn't miss PF, but come on. Again, conjecture. Yeah. I have no proof.
Yeah.
But maybe I believe that they had the hand in the mouse sympathy. Because so where did it get so organized? So I think that they used machinations to get rid of their greatest threat. I think that another thing that I find, some of his appointments, I think he is brilliant. The president does not make any, he's like Arabi. He does not make any mistake in his economic appointments. Minister of Finance, Bank of Zambia, TC, and I think even to the cabinet,
below PS and below?
PS especially, I've been very unhappy with PS. You know, I really hope that this president will not jettison in people. You know, like I really hope that he would not use PS position as a reward. And he did. Okay, I understand obviously the pressure, because can you imagine the pressure?
Yeah.
You know, the pressure from, you know, all you people who campaign, you know, when you campaign, I could see it, you know. So when you're honest, you understand that the pressure on the president has to be held. Because people remember this, remember that, some want their children and all. But I still think that this was our chance to have a very professional civil service, and maybe change it in such a way that even the next president finds it impossible to appoint political actors into the professional service. Some of the PSs he's appointed have no business being PSs, no business. I think Olokumuza Chabet do your controlling officer. Yeah, they can be played around by senior civil servants, you know. But also, controlling officer is the person that runs a ministry. They should understand the books, they must understand the economy, they must understand the constitution. So they have had a problem. I also think that, like I say,
women appointments, although you are not a feminist.
You know, I have a problem with the women's movement here in Zambia because
speak to that.
We worry too much about appointments. You know, now appointments favor people like me.
Yeah,
I don't need affirmative action. I don't need to get a loan on the basis of affirmative action. Me, my friends, at my level. So Zambia is a very unequal country. The women at the top are 100 times more powerful than the men at the bottom. You know, a man at the bottom can't come and harass me. Yeah. This is not South Africa, where the guy at the filling station akufuna. You know, South African men. You know, when I just went there.
Yeah. I told got to go class.
No, but it's not even that. Because
it's a very patriarchal society.
You don't even think about it as class. Because here you know what kind of man is going to come after you. You know what I mean? It's not even. Then you go there and you find, you know, here we are very stratified. And we are more about class than we are about the patriarchy. So a man, my driver, will not disrespect me because he's a man. My person who works my garden will not disrespect me because he's a man. Okay? So which means that if I'm a woman and I've become powerful, I am powerful. Okay? And do not give me favors ahead of a lower class man. It is wrong. Okay? Because a man in the village who's unable to feed his children should get that loan ahead of me.
Okay.
Should get that CDF loan ahead of me. So when it comes to appointment of women, it would favor the powerful women. Yes, it would look good. And the problem is, if he made a 50-50 cabinet, Nazi, you see, women keep quiet, will celebrate, will start getting accolades, will start getting awards. Will you have solved the problem? No. The biggest problem with women in this country is poverty. When did you last hear the women's movement talk about how many hours Zambian women take to fetch water, the poor? Yeah. When did you last hear? They don't talk about it. It's not their problem. It's not their problem. When did you last hear about the endemic issue of rape, child rape? We don't talk about it because it's not our children getting raped. You know, the numbers, and this is something maybe out of everything, if the country forgets everything, and if anybody in power is listening to me here, child rape. Children are being
as defilement as it is called.
Defilement is I don't like the word defilement. It's a sanitized word. What is defilement? You know, we arrange that defile. It sounds good, doesn't it? But if I say you raped a 5-year-old, which is what it is, You know, so I would like us to get rid of the word defilement. Children, they are at the Chilanga feeding program that I do every week. This week we heard about a child, small, tiny little thing, who's got syphilis.
Oh my. Yeah, because now we have an outbreak of syphilis for the first time in the last 40 years.
Under 10.
My God.
She has syphilis.
And there's no attention to that crime or to the victims.
So we don't talk about that. We don't talk about just the absolute, the burden in healthcare that's given to women as bedsiders. Do you know how much money women save this country by being bedsiders? Yeah. By doing nurses' jobs? Because if we removed every bedsider, we'd have to employ
the nurses. And help us.
Me, I can be a bedside. In my family, if somebody is sick, you see, I can only be a bedside if it's my husband who's there, or my child, like some of us. But if it's my cousin there or my sister there, we'll find the poorest person in the family. So who's carrying the burden of bedside?
So women. We
do not take care of them. They sleep. Have you been to UTH at night?
No. It's terrible. It's sad. I've been there.
They are sleeping on the corridors.
Cold floors.
Have you heard the women's movement talk about that? That this country is abusing its women folk as bedsiders. When they become bedsiders, they don't go and sell at the market. They don't do what? Nobody talks about it. Even GBV, another sanitized issue.
Word.
You know,
gender-based
violence.
We don't like just a policy.
No, we don't talk about how it affects the poor more than the rich. Early marriages. We don't talk about how early marriages. After 15 years.
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible. Your child can be actually below average intelligence as I see is a grade 12. You know that? Do you have a friend whose child has not finished grade 12?
No.
I don't. In my family, all of us who are educated, our children all have a grade 12 as a citizen. Have you ever heard of any of us at our level, our children are getting married early? No. But we talk about early marriages as if it is about people just wanting money. It's about people just wanting lobola. We don't talk about how it is an issue of poverty. So the girls getting married are the poor.
Yeah.
If we deal with poverty, if we deal with education, if we open boarding schools, we will have dealt with early marriages. If early marriages was a cultural thing, if it was about sex, if sometimes we make it look like it's about promiscuity. No one is talking about the outbreak of alcohol abuse among the poor. You know, they are drinking like mad.
We're calling them junkies.
Okay, so it is that for me. Yes.
So the women's movement needs alignment.
The women's movement needs. Okay, you see, you're putting me in trouble now. These are my friends. So, but
we discuss issues.
But you see, so the women's movement, as far as I'm concerned, is not doing a quarter
of what they need to do.
What is needed for a country like Zambia. We import problems from Norway. No, the national anthem should have gender-sensitive language. I agree, maybe, but that is a story.
A least problem.
Years from now. We talk about proportional representation. For who? It's not for the person at the bottom.
To be for the elite again.
It's for the elite. And when they get in, these women who are, when have you ever heard, the few women who've been appointed? What have they actually done about water, about early marriages, about child rape? Do you ever hear them? Do they sound any different from the men?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So you rarely hear me talking about appointments because the point is, okay, do you know, I mean, if I really wanted an appointment,
you would have gotten it.
You know what I mean?
Your position at the Human Rights Commission is token, literally, because there's even no money to it.
No, there's no money, but the Human Rights Commission, I got it because it's my kind of work. You know what I mean? In the Human Rights Commission, I can be a Human Rights Commissioner and I continue doing my
your work.
So I continue criticizing President Hichilema. If he makes me minister,
you sleep,
you know, he'll have gagged me.
Yeah.
You know, if he makes me ambassador, he'll have gagged me. But what I'm saying is,
did you just there? Because some people think you are quiet or you are soft on Hichilema because of jobs. Your fellow members in the civil society, some are now ambassadors. Some people from civil society are heading key institutions, including being permanent secretary. Has that affected you? Do you think that they lent their voice for political rewards?
You know what? I find it very, okay. Let me not criticize people. So
Yeah.
there are people who are very good where they are. I think Pamela is a waste. Pamela Chisanga is a waste as an ambassador. She should have been made minister because she's brilliant.
Yeah.
If you're going to appoint Pamela,
Yeah.
give her a job worthy. Not the ambassador to Botswana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That woman is brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think that's a waste. Or make a PS instead of some of the people you've made PS.
Yeah.
Okay? But there are people like, for example, Judy Mulenga, who had retired. No question. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She had already retired. So, but the others who've gotten, I think that it's a waste to appoint certain people. So if you appoint me before I retire as a minister, it's a waste. Because it's easier to get a minister than to get a civic actor. To create a civic actor who is probably trusted, who understands civic work, who understands our constitution, who is able to run with the issues. So, okay, let's say remove Zambian civil society. Chiluba would have remained. You know that?
Yeah.
People say civil society is weak, civil society is not okay. Civil society in Zambia goes to sleep when it wants to go to sleep. But
And it rises.
when there's an issue. Right now, what do you want civil society to be screaming about? Do you understand? Because I want to say to people, if my former husband used to beat me, come at 02, brought me 4 children from outside, Shanshan, and I was always screaming on the roof. Then I marry another one. Okay, na ni chakulwa, but sani menya, at least tundio chupa pa nyumba. If you still find me as shrill, who's mad? Is it me who's mad? Because we respond according to the issues. UPND has problems, but it is not PF. PF used to give
You're
us...
still giving them honeymoon?
No, it's not honeymoon. We're not giving them honeymoon. We respond. It is us who talked about the ATI. It's civil society. When you're arrested, we talk. But we don't have scandal after scandal like you guys used to give us. So you remember, there was for two today. Mairo Honeybee, Mairo Chani, Mairo Bakada Wemenya. Do you understand? So we had to be on our... And then our democracy looked like it was about to die. Our democracy doesn't look like it's about to die. So I can assure you, if President Hichilema dares to mess this country up, civil society will be there. So
let me read you a few reports.
Let me just finish.
The International Monetary Fund report of 2022 says our country has so much tension arising from legacy issues such as poverty and the new issues such as corruption and the shrinking democratic space. The International Economic Intelligence Unit has a similar report speaking to the tensions this country has descended to just in the last 2 years. You've probably heard voices here and there. What crisis are you waiting for?
But is it
to
true?
occur? Or you think the reports are not true?
No, they're not. I live here. You know what I mean?
No, I'm here. I'm arrested every day.
Emmanuel presentation.
I'm tear gassed. I lost my tooth. Maybe we've taken steps. We've
we haven't.
sides.
Let me tell you what the difference is. Emmanuel, let me tell you where UPND is clever.
Yeah.
UPND is clever in that it harasses its rivals, but not ordinary citizens. PF, if PF used to harass only HH and UPND, it will still be in power. So the difference is, if you're an ordinary citizen selling your tomato, your problem is hunger. But you can wake up at 04, buy your tomato, sell it. No one will come and ask you for 10 kwacha on top, 5 kwacha. That was the biggest problem with PF, that they took their dictatorship and their harassment to the common man. So right now, there is no tension with the common person. But yes, which is what I'm telling you. And I've written about this. I've said that because we are ignoring the excesses of UPND, because they're doing them against people we don't like. But that's wrong. I think it's wrong. And whenever people are arrested, I'll say it. I think it's wrong. Don't go and arrest people and keep them in cells for excessive periods. And don't make it a hobby. But you've got to understand that the reason why there's no noise about it, one is that you are PF. The memory
It's still fresh.
It's still fresh. And the things you did were worse than what UPND is doing to you. Okay? So is that, I think, kind of, should I say, conflict in people's minds? You know, airport. You see that kind of thing. So there's that, but I don't think so. The same way, like I think that President Lungu should not have been denied his
access to medical treatment.
Maybe, I don't know about medical, where I was reading medical, but I think that President Lungu should have a bodyguard, President Lungu should have a vehicle.
Or state benefits.
State benefits. I don't know about other things. Maybe you can deny him the actual salary, whatever. But he is a former president. A former president is an office. You can't have your former president kidnapped by Jerabo. You know what I mean? Who's going to be embarrassed? It's us. So the former president, I think, should be protected, should be accommodated. It's about dignity. You know, it's a bit like having your parent, okay, he annoys you. As a gonna punch. No, you know what I mean? It reflects not on him or on her, but on you. So what I'm saying there, I was talking about civil society. I was saying that if you look at civil society in Zambia, if you remove it, we would have had the third term
for Chiluba and for Edgar Lungu.
The thing would have passed. Butane would have passed. Zambians would not have known the extent of PF corruption when they 42 to 42 and all that. No. Zambians would not have turned out to vote like they did. So what I'm saying is that, yes, we can go quiet, but we have proved that in Zambia, it's better to close a political party than to shut down the opposition. Because the opposition is what has carried this country for so many years. Okay? I'm not going to say, that's why I was saying that I feel very sad when president after president picks off members of civil society. You know, like established members of civil society who are expert. Then you give them these political jobs.
Token jobs, yeah.
Which are going nowhere anyway, you know. Because once you enter the political side, you can't come back
to civil society.
It's
and how long did it take to train a Laura Miti?
How long did it take? You know what I mean? To develop my thinking. But for me, no, I can't take a political job. I can't.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying.
How's your work at the Human Rights Commission?
It's all right. You know, Human Rights. Human Rights Commission. Human Rights Commission needs a new law. You know, we've got a very good commission right now.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You know, I think it's a long time since we had such great. Pamela, you know, you've got Father Komakoma joining us. You have Father Chikoya. You've got Panic now. You have Felicity. Sorry, I'm calling them by their first name. Sorry, commissioners. Okay. So you put Commissioner Chama and that kind of thing. I think that even when you sit in our meetings, it's a great space. You know, in Zambia, it's rare that you sit in a space where people are speaking intelligently. Yeah. It's very rare. So the commission right now is a brilliant commission, but the law is constricting. Yeah. You know, you can't.
You can't prosecute.
You can't prosecute. The commission is underfunded, completely. Establishment so low. You know, it's at 40% establishment. But remember how the Human Rights Commission stood up tall during PF. You know, like they fought to stand up and remain independent. Yeah. And I think that's the reason why I agreed to be in the Human Rights Commission, because it's an independent voice. It's one commission I think that needs to be well funded, capacitated, and also always put in independent people, and also don't make it so easy for them to be removed, because all of us can be removed any day. Also, I mean, like, to be on the commission, commissioners are given 3,000 kwacha a month. You know, like, you know, like the amount of work required. So you end up with maybe people, should I say, prioritizing other work, because I'm paid by the ACA. My full-time work is the ACA. So, and Pamela's full-time, the chairperson's full-time work is at the university. right now, I don't know whether she has enough time to sleep, because as chairperson of the commission, that's a lot of work. Then she has to lecture, you know what I mean? And then she does other work. I think that maybe the chairperson should be given, I don't know, maybe a full-time role at the commission, and also fund the commission in such a way that, especially the staff, you know, the secretariat, because we are not a full-time commission, so the secretariat should be able to do its work. We should be able to respond to the important things. Again, another thing that bothers me about human rights in Zambia is that, like the women's thing, when we talk about human rights, but Emmanuel really can really sort himself out if he wants. You know what I mean? Emmanuel,
he can find a lawyer.
He can find a lawyer. As a chokamu.
Yeah.
Myself. My law.
Well, there's something I discovered. Every time I'm locked up in these police cells, there are cases, for example, how the police have been turned to be debt collectors.
Yes.
That abuse of the police must be spoken to. Many people are locked up because of civil debts.
Civil debt.
The police have a way of turning that law, you know, obtaining money by false pretenses. And they never prosecute these cases. You are locked up to use you or your relatives to look for money to pay the debtor.
You know, it's crazy.
That I'm usually...
When we were locked up, there was a child in Zanaba Tropical.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Juveniles like this in a cell full of fecal matter. One they used to punish me, but now, you know, the fecal matter, then they remove them and they put me in there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
things like that.
It's things like that. Yeah. But beyond that, it's the amount of time that a person with no lawyer will spend. You know, we write laws in this country for the rich. You need to work in sureties. There are people in this country with not one person in their family.
Yeah, true.
But their pastor maybe can sign, or even someone at the market who has a stand. She won't run away.
Yeah. No, in this country they want civil servants or leaders. Or
you know, someone with a market stand at Tendere Market who's been there for 10 years is as established. They fixed a board.
As a civil servant.
They fixed a board, but we don't. So we, as the Human Rights Commission, you find that, and not only as a Human Rights Commission, Zambians, when they talk about rights, this one has been arrested. We talk about Public Order Act, but the Public Order Act doesn't affect ordinary citizens. It affects civil society and people up there. I think I'm speaking for many others on the commission, it would be great if in our term of office we made movement on what affects ordinary people. The filth. Why can't you have a flush toilet in the cell? You know, when you and I sleep in the cell, or someone will give us a mattress.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
The officer in charge will come and greet you. And probably call you sir.
Yeah.
So there's a way in which, even on the worst of times,
we have the best.
Let's look at what's happening to ordinary people.
Yeah, true.
That's it,
Laura, this has been an eventful journey. I'm so glad that you came to the Conversation podcast and sincerely gave yourself to it, and we've had an honest conversation. You're one person who speaks truth to power, whether it offends or not. And because, like you say, you speak sincerely your beliefs, and you've done justice to that. What are your last words before we close?
My last words is we have a beautiful country. You know, what's not to love about Zambia? And we take it for granted. You know, there's a way in which Zambians sometimes are reckless with our good. So let's fight to be constitutional. Let's not fear to speak up when the party we voted into power, because we are the majority. Those of us who voted for UPAD are the majority. Therefore,
and you're not even UPND.
I'm not UPND. But I'm just talking about the number of citizens who voted for UPND are the majority. Therefore, we are the ones who should speak. If you leave for the minority to speak against excesses of the party in power, then the party in power will never be held to full account, because the majority are always its supporters. More importantly, let's look out to have policies that affect the poor. We need to lift this country and look downwards. Whether it's education, when you do a policy, when you write a policy, write it remembering that the poor are the majority. Health. You know, when you say, for example, that to pay school fees, you must use Bill Master. We want to Bill Master.
What is Bill Master to ordinary people?
You know, you say you must go to commercial bank. Is there a commercial bank in Chawaba? Is there a commercial bank in Mandevu? So you're saying that this person looking for 300 kwacha must find another 50. Nishio 300 kwacha, they fought so hard to find it. So by just that policy, you are sidelining people. And most of our policies in this country are designed for you and me. And so for me, whether it's this government, the next government, whichever government will come into office, let's run this country for the majority. The majority are poor and weak.
Oh, wonderful. Laura Miti, I'd like to thank you for coming. And our dear viewers, we had such a wonderful time with one of Zambia's eminent voices, civil society, a guru, I would call you. And until next time, until we have another guest, God bless our country. God bless Zambia. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.